What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Bleed here, and I got my man AlMac, and it is the odds post-fight show. We just wrapped up UFC Vegas 14. Paul Felder versus Rafael dos Anjos. Man, what a banger. Pretty good card all in all. Some really good action on this main card. We lost a ton of fights throughout fight week, unfortunately, man. Some of my favorite bets. Really, everyone that I really liked, we ended up losing. But all in all, man, they cobbled it together. We got some late fights. We got some short notice replacements. We ended up with 9 fights on the card. Not a bad card action-wise. What'd you think of it, my man, Al?
I mean, I thought it was a really strange card. It was just one of those things where I say it over and over again. It was just so MMA. Like, there was just so many weird results. And, like, the first 5 fights go to decision. And just like the judges are on, I don't know what the judges are on tonight, but it was just so MMA. Like right when you think everything is normal, an event like this happens and it's just like, nope, no one knows what they're doing. This sport is crazy, unpredictable. And we say that with like what, only a couple underdogs cashed for the first time in a while. So it was a weird one, man.
Yeah, no, the dogs finally came through after a huge streak of favorites just dominating. We finally got some dogs back in the mix. Yeah, like you said, man, funky judging. And speaking of funky judging, I guess let's talk about the first fight of the night. Corey McKenna gets the unanimous decision victory over Kay Hansen. I got to tell you what, guys. I had Kay Hansen winning this fight. 29-28 at the worst. I even see an argument for 30-27. So this is the post-show video we do here on Odds. And I tell you what, man, I had the time. I went and looked at MMA decisions. 14 of 16 media members scored that fight for Kay Hansen. 2 of 16 scored it for McKenna. Yet all 3 judges come back with 29-28 McKenna. I don't know, man. It was a very close fight. I'm not going to say robbery because I think every round played out fairly close. But I just thought Kay Hansen won. What'd you think about this one, Al?
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. And like we were saying before we went on the air, when he said all 3 judges score it and McKenna's face went like she lost. And it's like, she won the fight. And I was sitting here on my computer, not paying attention because I was just like, yeah, Hansen clearly won. And then they gave it to McKenna. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, and, you know, I'm not going to say robbery. It's not a robbery. It's just a difference of way that you saw the fight. And, you know, it's just a difference in criteria, something we've talked about a couple of times where there's a difference between what we see as fans and what the judges see. They see it differently, especially with female MMA fighting. It's a little bit different. You know, it's not as flashy. Just, you know, it just seemed though, like with all that being said, like Hansen had a takedown in the 3rd round. She had top control. Like I could be part of like, you know, I could try to play both sides of it, but it's like Hansen won that fight, man. Like Hansen won that fight.
Yeah, I thought so too, but man, what are you going to do? So McKenna moves on. Both are 21-year-old prospects. I'm expecting, I mean, listen, it was a close fight. I thought both of them looked UFC caliber, you know, all in all, I was impressed on both sides at times. I do feel like Kay Hansen got the better of the striking, and I honestly think she got the better of the grappling too. So is what it is, 29-28. It's been a while since we've had some funky scoring, funky judging. We've been pretty lucky as of late, but man, tonight some things got a little bit crazy, but let's keep it rolling here. Second fight of the night. Luckily, we didn't need the judges involved here. Sean Strickland just goes out there and puts it on Brendan Allen, finishes 1 minute 32 seconds into the second round. And I tell you what, man, this is a fight that I picked Brendan Allen to win, but that was because I felt like Brendan Allen knew that his path to victory was going to be to put this fight up against the cage, take this fight to the ground where I thought he probably would have a grappling advantage. Well, the thing is, Brendan Allen went out there and totally fought Sean Strickland's game. I mean, Sean Strickland, I think everyone in the world felt like Sean Strickland was going to have an advantage for the amount of time the fight stayed on the feet. It was a question, does the fight go to the ground? Does the fight stay standing? Brendan Allen never attempts a takedown. Brendan Allen goes 0 for 0 on takedowns. I don't know what got into his head. Went out there, fought a terrible, Terrible game plan. Ends up getting finished by Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland honestly touching him just so easily over and over again. Sean Strickland, I got to be honest, kind of has the tall man striking defense. Not a lot of head movement. Really should be there to hit. Brendan Allen didn't connect, though. I mean, it was Strickland going first, touching him up. Every time Allen would come forward, Strickland have a nice jab for him. So I'm very disappointed in the game plan of Brendan Allen. I honestly expected more out of the kid from a strategic standpoint. Bad coaching, bad cornering, just all of it. But let's take nothing away from Sean Strickland, man. A very high-quality win in a catchweight fight. A fight that he just had a fight, 2 weeks ago to the date?
2 weeks ago.
Sean Strickland, man, on a good roll here at middleweight. And, man, looking like his ceiling's pretty high. What'd you think of the fight?
I got to tell you, so I'm a big fan of Sean Strickland. He had an interview with odds.com 2 weeks ago with James Lynch going into his fight with Jack Marshman. And it's disappointing because I bet Strickland inside the distance in that fight, and then I bet him to win by decision in this fight, and both lost. But I had him on the money line in both fights. I think his boxing is on he reminds me almost of Masvidal, like on his striking. He's super technical. He's really he's got a chin, he's got a chin for days. And I think even for now that he's sticking to middleweight, as soon as I saw this fight at 195 or at the catchweight that they were at, I was like, I think Strickland's live. Strickland inside the distance cashed at plus 550.
Ooh, beautiful. Beautiful
kicked
bet.
myself that I wasn't on that one. The odds makers had this one favored to go over. The under cashed under 2.5 rounds, cashed at plus 140. Fight goes the distance, no, cashed at plus 125. I tell you, man, Sean Strickland is a problem. It's just the one thing that I didn't like is I saw him kind of limping off there at the very end. It looked like he kind of had he tweaked his knee, and we know he's had a serious leg problem. He was in a motorcycle accident, I think in 2018. He didn't fight since until that fight 2 weeks ago. So hopefully he's fine, but I think this guy's for real. I think he's a super high ceiling, and this is the type of guy that bet on him because people don't know who he is, and people like us, we've been given he's given us the warning here. I think as long as he stays healthy, I think that he's a problem at middleweight.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And I thought we were going to get some questions answered here. And the question I had is, how's he going to look on the ground coming back off that big lay off the motorcycle accident and all that? We still don't know because Brendan Allen, whose job really was to take this guy down, just didn't do it. Sean Strickland rolls on, but man, he's looking good. So what is there to knock? You know what I mean? So Sean Strickland ends up as the underdog and cashes. We had quite a few underdogs cash on this main card. So as a matter of fact, all underdogs cashed on this main card, but the main event. So next fight, we had Ashley Yoder get the unanimous decision over Miranda Granger. Yeah, man, a fight that for me just had pass written all over it. I didn't have any action on this fight whatsoever, but I did think that it was a very risky fight, and both chicks were live to win it. Sure enough, stylistically, they're pretty even. And honestly, even at the end of that, I want to say it was the first or second round, they ended up in a weird grappling stalemate on each other's legs. And I was like, man, it's weird how these chicks almost mirror each other. And honestly, it just turns out Ashley Yoder is just the slightly better fighter, ends up getting the unanimous decision win. When it came to the grappling exchanges, she predominantly came out on top, threatened some subs, and all in all, just proved herself to be the better fighter, albeit ever so slightly. But I don't think the judges got this one wrong. It looked to me like Yoder was probably going to win the fight. Ashley Yoder gets the decision. What'd you think of this one?
Yeah, this is one where I kind of kicking myself because, I was on Granger, and, as soon as the fight started, I was like, this is one of those ones where it's the octagon experience is what ended up paying off. And, I got to give it to Miranda for holding on at the very end there with that rear naked. And, it looked like she was going to just go out, and she held on until the bell. But, yeah, it's one of those ones where the over was a solid play, but it's always hard to parlay overs. And, it was just a weird one. Another weird one where it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, yeah, the favorite should win, and then as soon as the bell rings, you're like, the dog's gonna win. That's what's gonna happen. That was just how tonight was.
Yeah, one thing that we got to point out is what it was up until the McKenna fight. Women's fights, which are notorious for underdogs coming through, we had a 17 fight streak that favorites had won. Sure enough, McKenna blows that. Yoder comes in as the dog. I believe Yoder opened up as the favorite, but all the money came in on Granger. I'm not really sure what people were thinking, man. This fight screamed danger to me, as in the nickname of Miranda Danger Granger, and it was danger for me. So luckily I let this one go by. I mean, all in all, in retrospect, I guess I wish I would have had money on Yoder as the underdog, but yeah, man, I'm not I wasn't sweating missing out on that one, to be honest with you. So and you are right though, man. Yoder, if there was 5 more seconds, maybe like 2 or 3 more seconds at the end of that round, Yoder was going to get that finish. Yeah. So incredibly close. Granger barely survives, but loses the clear decision. So
wait. We have to talk about how he announced it initially as 27-26.
Oh yeah, dude. What? Where? Now was that Bruce? There's no way my man Bruce Buffer got it that wrong, but I swear he said 27-26 Yoder. And it took a long time for the scorecards to come in. I almost feel like Bruce was like explaining to the judge that you just handed me a scorecard that there's literally no way this is possible. I don't know if they had to go back and erase. I don't know what happened there, but we looked at the scorecards after the fight, and there was definitely no 27-26. And I'm not sure how that could ever even be scored in an MMA contest. So turns out it was an error at somewhere along the line, but Yoder nonetheless gets it done. What do you think happened there?
I think it might have been a misprint because I'm looking now. So it was 30-26, 29-27, 29-27. So maybe, I don't know. I'll
never know. I'll never know. I've thought about it and I just can't figure it out. So yeah, wacky scoring, wacky judging was kind of the name of the night, but we still got some funky stuff to talk about. So but here's another one we didn't have to worry about the judges. Chaos Williams with the TKO ain't even in the subject line. It's KO'd stiff. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. Chaos Williams is what, a plus 175 underdog, I want to say, right in that range. My goodness, 30 seconds takes out. What they need to do is call this guy the Fortis killer, because it's 2 dudes out of Fortis, 2 guys, which Alex Morono earlier in the night beats Reese McKee. I had Alex Morono. He bounces back from the Chaos Williams KO, but my goodness, I think just about everybody had Abdul Razak Al-Hassan probably finding that first round KO, with the flip side being if Chaos Williams could survive the first round, he would probably be live from that point on. Well, Chaos Williams went in there and razaked Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, blows him up. I mean, I'll tell you where strategically Abdul went wrong. He throws a naked leg kick, just covers up and throws a single leg kick. You can't do that, man. You're leaving your chin wide open. Chaos throws an absolute laser missile straight down the pipe, hits him across the chin, and I'm not sure if Abdul's still fully woken up from that KO yet. It was incredible. He was down and out on that canvas. I mean, Chaos Williams had given the post-fight interview, had walked out of the cage, been announced the winner, was walking away, and Abdul was still laying on the ground. Incredible stuff out of Chaos Williams. 2 UFC fights, 2 knockouts, combined fight time, 1 minute. Wow. What is next for Chaos Williams? How do you feel about this one, Al?
Well, I was on Chaos Williams, and I'm not going to claim to say that I know that Chaos Williams is going to knock him out. It's just something that I've been tracking in the welterweight division whenever I don't really know two fighters enough in the welterweight division, I'm just going to bet the underdog and, small unit size, small stake percentage. But listen to this stat. The underdog in the welterweight division since 2019 has only won 50 of 126 fights, 39.7%. But if you've bet on them every single time, you're up 8.6 units profit because you're getting, I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's because the welterweight division is it's this. I think it's because it's so popular, or the hitting power, and the odds makers just don't know how to judge it. It's one of those weird things. But the underdog in welterweight, only hitting at about 40%, is still pulling a profit. And you said it exactly. And if you watch that knockout, Al-Hassan's feet were in the air when he made contact with his jaw. He walked right into that punch. He had his full body momentum going into that punch. And it was just like a straight, it wasn't anything extended. It was just like a straight hook. And he was doing the post-fight interview, and I don't even think Al-Hassan knew what country he was in at that point. Like, he was out. He was like, that was a KO, but probably still doesn't know where he is. That was a wild one. And, it was refreshing to see because, it was a whole bunch of weird results, maybe besides the Strickland result, but it was a refreshing knockout. We knew that something was going to happen in that fight. That wasn't the result that everyone was thinking. Even me, I was just playing on the value. So he cashed plus 180 on the money line, plus 325 inside the distance. And then just to say the odds makers, the fight goes the distance was minus 550. So that was a pretty easy one and the under 1.5 minus 170. So the odds makers were they were against this fight going anytime. Even I think it was 30 seconds flat that he finished him. A lot of people probably saw Abdul Razak Hassan getting the finish, but Chaos Williams, man, he's a problem.
Yeah, and boy, we got to see him get matched up with. I mean, a win over Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, that's going to launch you up there. Man, let's get him somebody maybe right outside that top 15. And if he does it again, this might be a guy we fast track, He's just, something's changed, and this guy's just been absolute explosions since he's gotten to the octagon. So phenomenal win out of Chaos Williams, and man, who knows? Sky could be the limit for Chaos Williams. Let's see if somebody can survive longer than 30 seconds against him in this next one. So that was our co-main event. We're already up to the main event. Rafael dos Anjos barely squeaks by Paul Felder with the split decision win. I'm just kidding, you guys. Personally, I think RDA won this fight pretty clearly. Man, whatever judge it was that came up with a 48-47 Paul Felder, whoa. Probably one of the worst scorecards of all time, but RDA gets it done via split decisions, albeit those two judges' scorecards, 50-45. The two judges that gave the fight to RDA saw all 5 rounds for him. I can't argue against it, man. RDA's moved back down to 155. I was concerned RDA might not have the gas tank anymore. He's 36 years old, which is a really old lightweight at this point. Paul Felder's also 36, but you consider the mileage on these guys, and RDA's just been around so long and fought so many killers. But at the same time, man, RDA goes out there. You can take nothing from him. The gas tank looked good. He fought a strategically super smart game plan. I thought he might not have the gas tank and might abandon the wrestle heavy approach, after the first or second round. Not at all, man. Really fought super smart. Paul Felder, when they were in the center of the octagon, honestly was probably getting the better of him when it came to just the strictly striking game, which honestly is how I saw the fight playing out. I thought RDA wouldn't have that ability to continuously use the offensive wrestling over 5 rounds, but man, he showed us he's improved the cardio. looked really good, man. And we need to get this guy a really solid fight. I mean, a win over Paul Felder, who I want to say is like number 7 in the division, probably just pretty much slot RDA in there, man. And he's looking at a top 5 fight potentially in his next one. RDA looked good. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, again, I think it was Chris Lee, the judge, who had it, what was it, 48, 47? Yeah, 48, 47 Felder. You know, that's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I can maybe see the second round, maybe giving the second round to Felder, but beyond that, I don't. It's a little bit ridiculous for me. I was looking at the under here. I was waiting for the under, hoping to get it at like plus 140. It never got there, so I just decided on Dos Anjos by decision. I thought, it was one of those fights where, Felder is a classic decision type fighter.
Yeah.
We saw it with Hooker. He had that war, and it just screamed like there was no other value. The value was sucked out on the money line. When this fight opened, I thought it was ridiculous how heavy of a favorite Dos Anjos was. Felder proved, he's still an issue at lightweight. I would like to see Felder step in there. I would even like to see Felder fight Hooker again, maybe. Like I feel like that would be a good fight to make. It was a great fight. All seeing it from all sides, I thought it was super entertaining. Dos Anjos went higher than what his expectations were. Felder went higher than what his expectations were. Dos Anjos called out Conor McGregor after the fight.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think he's thinking about his legacy, how it would have been, had he not pulled out of that McGregor fight, way back when Nate Diaz stepped in on short notice and ended up beating McGregor. So, how different the world was after that, RDA pulling out of the fight, on about a week's notice. Yeah. Nate Diaz comes in, ends up beating Conor McGregor. And then, it's just been a different world ever since. So I think RDA is thinking about, that payday is what he's thinking about, getting in there with Conor. Conor might not be that same Conor he was back then. RDA was, going to be taking on the best Conor. But honestly, that might have been also the best RDA back then too. So, it's a matchup we never got, a matchup RDA wants, but a matchup I don't believe RDA ever gets. I think RDA would have to put on a spectacular run and probably get the belt back around his waist to ever get a shot at Conor again. And at 36 years old, man, that's a serious task. But, RDA looked very good tonight. Maybe we're selling him short. Maybe he does have one last run in him. But, I think RDA looked pretty good. But let's not knock Paul Felder, man. All things considered, as much as Paul Felder was going up against, he gave a pretty good showing of himself and actually, was winning certain aspects of the fight. It was the game planning. It was the fight IQ of RDA that really sealed the victory for him, though. So, yeah, not a bad card action-wise. We only had 9 fights, which is a little disappointing. Like I said, we lost probably some of the best betting angles on this card. Little scant for bets. I didn't have a lot in the game. Thankfully, it just was not a great night for me on picks, so I was very glad to be using that betting discipline and letting a lot of these real sketchy fights kind of pass me by. We have a great betting card as it stands right now for Saturday. Who knows, man, what fights we end up losing and gaining. There's just something about Vegas lately, man. These Vegas cards just get picked apart with the positive COVID tests, injuries. I don't know what it is, man, but there's something about Fight Island where everything stays together. It goes good. Everybody's winning money. Fights are going how we see it. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be back to Fight Island until 2021. I think we're riding it out in Vegas for the rest of the year. Who knows what the future holds, but I'm looking forward. I think we got a very good card ahead of us this week. So how do you feel about this upcoming card?
I got to say, Devison Figueiredo is probably my most favorite fighter of 2020. We got to see him before the pandemic, right before the pandemic. He beat Joey B there to win that the fight that he didn't win the title, and then a couple months later he won it in even more decisive fashion. I don't know. I gotta say, I love this guy. I think that Perez is deadly, but if Perez is going to win this fight, he's going to do it with that weird modified anaconda that he has. If he wins this fight, it's going to be by submission. I don't think that, if you're going toe to toe, I don't think that he can match up with Figueiredo. I think he's got to do something to get away from that stand-up matchup. But I think it's going to be great. And then, Shevchenko versus Maia. I think that's more of a matter of when and not if. What do you think about that fight?
Oh, man, Shevchenko versus Maia. I got to keep it real. I don't like Maia's chances. I mean, we're talking about a chick who's 3-2 in the UFC, and you look at who she's lost to. You look at the level Shevchenko's operating on right now. It's Shevchenko. There's a massive gap, and then there's whoever's in second place. And honestly, it's a whole lot of people like in that second place range, and they seem to almost have like a triangle of this chick beats this chick, but then she beats this chick who beat this chick, and it's just, which is how you end up with a 3-2 fighter getting a title shot. You know what I mean? So Shevchenko, I'm not even going to say head and shoulders above everyone else. It's like Shevchenko standing on the shoulders of everyone else. It's just absolutely insane. So, yeah, man, should be a great card. Is there anything you want to add to this before we wrap it up here?
No, just hopefully we get all the fights that they're advertising. I wouldn't be surprised if they start piling on that main card like we saw this time. At one point we had 6 fights on this main card today, and then it went down. So who knows what's going to happen? You know what I am really excited about? A really good fight is Shogun versus Paul Craig. That one's going to be
man. That's another tough one to break down, man. And I have no idea who I'm going with that on that one. I need to rewatch the first one, so should be a good fight. But yeah, man, that's it. That's a wrap for UFC Vegas 14. Like I said, 9 fights. We got it done. Action-packed night. The dogs were barking yet again. Looking forward to UFC 15 and getting on track and making that money, baby. So let's do it. Thanks to my man AlMac. I'm JustBleed from JustBleed MMA. You can check out my channel anytime right here on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you same time, same place